Welcome back, Pauper players. Alright, so I got a real treat for you on this one, I think. This one is now we're entering round 5 of this challenge replays, and this one was a bit of a doozy. This one came completely out of left field, and I didn't expect it at all. At this point, I was 4-0, and there were only a handful of other 4-0s, and I was kind of starting to take a look at, what people were playing, what to expect. And this player, unfortunately, was one of the names that I did not recognize, Darkfire 7. They had no tournament history record or anything. And as a result, I didn't know what to expect. So I just kind of went in, I played it by ear, and just kind of went with it. For me, this hand, it looked really good, so I just decided to keep it. Again, we're expecting a lot more aggro. I feel like I recognized the name, and I expected a little something like aggro-y, so I kind of figured this hand might be good. Elvish Mystic, Well-Wisher, seems alright. But what happens threw me off. I see Thornwood Falls, and I say, okay, I'm thinking Tron. And then I see Fertile Ground. And I go, what the shit? What plays Fertile Ground? And then they go Ponder. And Preordain. And I start seeing all of these cards. And then I see Lifespark Spellbomb there. And let me just pause this just to kind of go over this. If you're not familiar with these. Fertile Ground, Utopia Sprawl, but anything basically. Ponder, Preordain, you know those. But Lifespark Spellbomb, what on earth plays Lifespark Spellbomb? And that's what I said. I have never seen this card show up in any Pauper decks or anything. I didn't know what I was looking at. Didn't know what to expect. And more importantly, I was thinking, how the hell did this go 4-0? So I was very, very curious to see what this was. So let's just kind of see where this goes. So, play out my priests, get the longbow, and hope for the best. Then I see Gifted Paradise. Again, still, I have no idea what to expect. Just no clue. And then, what they do is they animate it with Lifespark Spellbomb, the land that has Gifted Paradise, which taps for 2 mana of any one color, and they cast Freed from the Real. Now, if you're not familiar with what Freed from the Real does, it basically lets you just untap it. So what you're doing here is you're tapping down the island for, in this case, 2 blue mana. And then you untap it. And you tap it again. Now you're at 3 blue mana. And you untap it, and you just keep going. You generate infinite blue mana by doing that. And then once you have infinite blue mana, you start using that mana towards other colors. In this case, it ends up being red that it gets used for. Now, I'm just going to let this play out a little bit, but I'll show you basically what happens. They got kind of annoyed that I made them sit here and play it out, but unfortunately, the clock is a real thing with Magic Online. This is your the kill card that they used, which is Valakut Invoker. Deals 3 damage to target creature or player. And that was where they got kind of annoyed and messaged me. But I just made them play it out. I think I had F6 at this point and just let it happen. And they just generated a ton of mana back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And used it all and killed me. And by doing that, though, they shaved off about a good 7-8 minutes or so. Maybe even more than that. I forget exactly how much it was by the end. But they took me down a decent amount, but just hard to say. And what they did to get the Valakut Invoker as well is they transmuted Drift of Phantasms Also lets them get their combo piece that's freed from the reel or Gift of Paradise. I think I'll just kind of let it play out. I think you just kind of see where it was. But as you can see, like right here, they're down about 7 minutes of their time as of this point. And I think by the end, they probably took off about 9 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. And that's a lot of time to take off your clock. That means if they can't kill me in a reasonable time, reasonable fashion in Game 2, then they have to play it towards the next thing. So at this point, yeah, they used about 8.5 minutes. And I lost that game, match, whatever. I lost it handily. And I'll be honest with you, I really didn't know much of what to sideboard here. I took a shot in the dark with it and tried to make it work. I did opt to actually play the clock a little bit here. And you could argue that that's a little shady, but for better or worse, it's one of the win cons. It's one of the ways that this Magic Online happens to work with things. So for better or worse, it's an actual thing. It's here to stay. So what I ended up doing is I cut my 3 Elvish Vanguards and 2 Viridian Longbows, and I brought in my 3 Gleeful Sabotages to deal with their Life Spark, Spell Bomb to deal with Gift of Paradise, all of those crazy artifacts and enchantments that they're clearly using to break out their combo. If they cast Freed from the Reel on something, I'm dead anyway, so Gleeful Sabotage doesn't do anything towards that, but it deals with all the other combo enablers. The other thing I brought in, Luminescent Rain. Because I had gained, I think, like 30 life or something like that with Well-Wisher, that's what really affected that clock and made them, hurt them trying to kill me. So I brought that in because if I can get like 10 elves on the board and cast, I maybe have Well-Wisher and Luminescent Rain, then getting that extra bit of time on the clock can mean that they just can't kill me. And that's a real thing. So, that was just basically what I did here. So, see Well-Wisher? Snap keep it. Because again, you're playing that clock as a real thing, or else just trying to race them. So you have Well-Wisher and Kieran Ranger, and you can generate a lot of life. Now again, people can argue with me, they can disagree with me, and why I'm doing these things, but at the end of the day, this is an actual real thing, for Magic Online. It's not, I wouldn't call it the best or ideal or anything, but it is a very real way to play this game, for better or worse. And you'll see, a lot of people agree on that. This is a aggressive kind of thing, and it's a tournament setting. The clock is a very real win condition, so you have to play it. So basically, I'm just doing this. I'm gaining a lot of life, like I said, trying to keep that number up, and still get in for a lot of damage, because I don't know when this combo is going to hit me, so I'm trying to do it like the best I possibly can. And by this point, I just have lethal straight up on the board. They have the Giga Drowse to deal with my stuff, but it only goes so far. And they tap down a Nettle Sentinel, which seemed kind of ridiculous, because then I just untap it and attack it. And that has enough damage on board to kill them. So, Game 3, we go into much of the same kind of deal. Trying to get that opening hand to show up. Oh, this was a straight mulligan. No landers. Got them all, unfortunately. This hand didn't look that great, but it looked like the kind of hand that could be explosive. You would obviously open with Kieran Ranger, go into Birchlow Rangers, and just try and generate a lot of mana really quick. So I think I decided to keep this. Saw Priest, snap keep it. And they had the Life Spark Spell Bomb. This really surprised me because they ended up sacrificing the Spell Bomb right there out of the gate. And this right here just made me want to really push this combo because you just got Priest of Titania down. And Priest of Titania with 3 Kieran Rangers means you are going crazy. So I'm generating out a lot of dudes, a lot of creatures, and I'm just going nuts. I have the second Distant Melody in my hand, and a Nettle Sentinel, which means I'm just generating a ton of mana. For every elf that I cast, basically, I'm generating enough creatures that I can generate 2 color pieces of mana. So I'm just like spitting out a whole board of stuff. And I don't remember if that was enough, or I don't remember if I called Warrior for that, or if I called Elf. I can't tell. It's moving a little too quick at that point for me to really sit here and count. But my game plan was basically just play out like all my elves and just go deep on this. What ends up happening here is I make it so I gain so much life, they literally cannot kill me before their clock would run out. Even if we were to sit here and play it out, even if they got there, even if they had it, then I made it so that there was no possible way for them to do it. As you can tell, I just dropped like a bajillion creatures, and what I end up doing here is I end up casting both of the Luminescent Rains that are sitting in my hand. And when you see how much life I gain from doing this, you'll see what I mean. That they just really, they have no way to actually kill me. And I don't think I've really gotten a chance to actually show it yet, but this is what Elves looks like when it really, really goes off. Because by now I have 4 Hunt Masters, I have 3 Nettle Sentinels, so at this point, every elf that I cast is generating me 3 plus, like 3.5 mana. Because then, there are 2 ones that I cast, then I have that extra mana between the 2 remaining Elf Warrior tokens. And so the ultimate goal here is, again, to survive. If they try to combo out, then they're going to lose the clock. If they can't combo off, then I just kill them from sheer volume of creatures. I didn't know whether or not to expect Moment's Peace or not here, or any fog spells, so I just kind of went with it. That's one reason I didn't bring in any longbow or mob justice or anything. In fact, now I'm curious. I haven't actually looked at Darkfire's list yet, so I'm going to pull that up on my phone here while I'm letting this kind of run out so I can show. Okay, so I gained 500 something life from casting those 2 Luminescent Rains. And again, now I have 3 Well-Wishers, so I just tap down the Well-Wishers and go to town. They played Spore Frog, and so I wasn't able to kill them with damage. But at this point, I had gained about 1,000 life. They sent me a message saying, good games, and that was the match. So This was, again, this was Free from the Real combo. I heard about this deck before, but I had never actually seen it in action. So seeing it in action here was something else. I really appreciate it. I think it's really, really cool, and I actually, honestly, I hope more people play it. Not just because I think I have an okay matchup against it. I'll be honest with you. Having no knowledge about the list and everything, I really think they actually stood a better shot at killing me. And what really saved me these matchup, or all three of these games, was just the amount of life gain that I had hit leading up to this point. So yeah, definitely some serious kudos to Darkfire for playing something really cool, really interesting, and it definitely got a lot of hype as a result of this challenge. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about it, and I think that is awesome. So that is the end of round 5 and puts us at 5-0. And next up, we just got the final match of the Swiss pairings. At this point, puts us in a lock for top 8. At that point, I'm really just happy that I have achieved top 8. I wasn't even sure if any Elves players had previously actually managed to reach the top 8 before, so I was just happy to actually have a deck actually hit it for a chains. And that last match felt very, the last match for the Swiss feels very casual, very laid back, and I really enjoyed that. It was a nice break for me. So that is the 5th match versus Free from the Real. Hope you guys enjoyed it.